Shalom, shalom. Now, let's get this straight. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5.
Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Right, so the Most High gave the Hebrews in that time laws, statutes, and commandments, which we will soon find out that they did not keep those laws, statutes, and commandments. And he also talked about how we will suffer for not keeping those commandments, how we will be laying at the head of the streets as we are today, standing around being watched, standing around in a trap. He said we would be in this state right here on the corners because of no law at all. Continue.
Even as the Lord my God have commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it.
So, because we disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments, which it talked about in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 on down, how we will suffer from disobedience. Continue.
Keep therefore and do them.
We must keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right. So this is our wisdom. Not keeping up with the Joneses. Not trying to get in some $3 million home. This is where we need to be in these law, statutes, and commandments. That's our wisdom to the nation. That's where we need to be. We are the salt of the earth. Matthew 5 and 13 tell us we are the salt of the earth. So that means we give the earth its rhythm. We give the earth its seasoning.
That's right. Say it.
We are the original Hebrew Israelites.
Yes.
We are the children of those lost sheep. So it's time to wake up and do what we're supposed to do. Because following the laws, because we definitely are lawless people, so this is what they do. So this is what the seed of Amalek do. They give us laws, which they know we're not going to follow because we didn't even follow our father and his laws. So you give a lawless nation laws so we can be locked up, unfruitful to the world, unfruitful to the Father. Continue.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Right. So the other nations, when they notice that you're not partaking in their stores, when you're not doing anything as far as laboring and paying into their stores, and anything that you're giving any type of financial credence to on the Shabbat, on the Sabbath day, then they'll realize, why aren't we getting any money come Friday, sundown to Saturday?
Teach.
Then they'll know, like, what's going on. They're going to pull one of us and say, why aren't you coming in my store on the Sabbath, Friday night, until Saturday night? Why?
Read verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who have God so nigh unto them, as the Lord your God is in all things, that we call upon him for? Verse 8. And what nation is there so great, that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day?
So that's how you get credibility. That's how you get recognition in this world. You want to keep up with the Joneses? We are the Joneses.
Say it. Right.
We have no need to follow anyone. We were given the law, statutes, and commandments. We was the chosen.
Yes.
We were the chosen. Deuteronomy 7:6. We are the chosen. Hold on, Thessalonians. Continue reading.
Verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently.
Keep thy soul. Do you understand what that means? Nobody's going to take care of your soul like you are. You can't be followers to nothing but the Most High. You got to follow what makes sense to the Most High, not some man that don't know what he's talking about.
Keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen.
So what did our forefathers see? They saw him part the sea. What else they see? They saw him throw staves down and turn them into snakes that devoured the other snakes. So many wondrous works that our forefathers saw, and they actually was in the presence of the Most High.
Yes.
And when they heard the thunder, we got real scared. Real scared. Keep going.
Lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
Right, so we are supposed to teach these laws, statutes, and commandments and pass them down from generation to generation. Because we were a particular people. We were a particular people from the Most High. Read this.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people upon the face of the earth. So we all aren't created equal. I mean, that don't even make sense. Because you got a wildlife, you got animals, you got lions. He's on another level. You got mongoose. You got different type of animals that are on different levels.
Yes.
They're in a different bracket. You got the kings of the jungle. And there were kings of the earth. So he told the kings of the earth, if you continue to follow my laws, statutes, and commandments, he will have you on a different scale than other nations.
Yes.
He will have you higher than everybody else. You will have different perks in life. But for some reason, our eyeballs get to wondering. Judah, especially, the grass is always green on the other side. And we need to put our head down and do what the Most High tells us to do. Because this was our benefits. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee high on high above all nations of the earth.
So, nations mean nationalities, different people. So he said he will set us above all different nationalities upon the face of the earth. Above all nations. Continue to read that.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Now think about that. Blessings overtaking you. Just think about that. You can't do nothing because they're overtaking you, blessing after blessing after blessing. Don't we want that? I mean, look at us. We're broken. Don't we want that life? Continue.
Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground.
Right, so whatever we put our hand to, fruitful in having multiple kids, fruitful in the farms, in the garden, everything we touch. Go ahead.
And the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out.
Right, so when we go to the stores and the grocery stores, if we don't have a link card, do we feel blessed? We are now counting that fruit in a couple of pieces of chicken, trying to add it up in our head, trying to see if we gonna get stopped at that checkout lane. Are we gonna get embarrassed? Do you think the other nations have any kind of worry? Any? If one card so happen not to work, they will grab another one, or they'll just pull out $1,000 in cash and take care of it anyway. They know there's a different set of people in this earth because of disobedience. We're laying in this state right now. Even when they freed us from slavery, they were giving us $1 a day. $1 a day to work in their fields. And I was looking at a documentary. Yeah, they was giving them $1 a day, but the lady said it took her $3. It cost her $3 a day to feed her kids. But yet she in the fields 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day, only getting $1. So this is a people that you had no chance to get any kind of generational wealth. That means this curse came from on high. We never had a chance to prosper without the Most High. So you continue going your rat race thinking you're prospering. Unless you find your Father, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the Father gave us specific details on what we're supposed to do. And we're not supposed to be like the other nations. Read that.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 22. Abstain from all appearance of evil.
Abstain from all appearance of evil. All appearance. So we got to understand what that means. We're supposed to abstain from all appearance of evil. So you got Thanksgiving, you got Easter, you got all these holidays that you think, oh, it don't mean nothing. I'm not giving my heart to it. I know who my God is. But the Father said, read it again.
Verse 22, abstain from all appearance of evil.
All appearance. All appearance. Read this.
The book of Isaiah chapter 44 verse 10. Who have formed a God?
Who have formed a God? Now, if the book of Exodus chapter 20 tell us not to form gods, let's consider the scripture here. Read.
Verse 10. Who hath formed a God, or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing? Verse 11. Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen thereof men. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand up. Yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. Verse 12. The smith with the tongues both worketh in the coals, and fashioneth with hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth.
Right, so you got a man that has a trade. He know how to bend gold and silver to form idols. And it says, he is, read it again, say he's hungry, right?
He is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint. Verse 13.
Right, okay, so he's so into building this idol that he's basically fasting for this God that he's making. He's intent on getting this God to worship, to put out there, to give the who? Read that.
Verse 13. The company straightened out his rule. He marked it out with a line. He fitted it with planes, and he marked it out with the compass, and make it after the figure of a man, according to the.
So he's making this idol into the figure of a man. Now we just read that 1 Thessalonians said we need to not abstain from the appearance of evil. Read that. Now remember, he's making this idol into the fashion of a man.
According to the beauty of a man.
According to the beauty of a man. So this man is probably going to be well shaped. Just how this world perceive a person of handsome or a pretty person would look. Go ahead.
That it may remain in the house.
That it will remain in the house. So he's shaping a figure of a man with gold or with silver, that it will remain in the house. So it can't be one of those big old idols. It's the smaller idols. It's a small size gold or silver idol that's either hand size, but it can fit in your home. And see, what they're so crafty with is to put this in our home, because they give it to us when we achieve something. It's a trophy, right? They give us the trophy when we do something good. So no, what they're doing is, when you achieve in their sports, which we are going to achieve because Jacob was made stronger than other nations. So when we do this and we receive that trophy, the other nations knowing that they're giving us an idol. Here, take this idol home with you. Good job. Take it home with you. So the whole point is to make sure Israel, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, Puerto Ricans, that we got these idols always near. They want to make sure that these idols are close by. And the Father said we need to abstain from any appearance of evil. Let's get that. Yeah, so continue with that.
Verse 14. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest.
Right, so he's teaching us how to get idols on a cheaper way. Instead of having to pay for gold, silver, now they're teaching us how to get these idols on the cheaper form, on the cheaper side. The whole point is to get us to deal with these idols. Go ahead.
He planted an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Verse 15. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it, and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god, and worshipeth it. He maketh a graven image, and falleth down thereto. He burneth part thereof in the fire, with part thereof he eateth flesh. He roasteth roast and sanctified. Yea, he warmeth himself, and said, Aha, I am warm, I have seen the fire. Verse 17.
No, okay, we're going to go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 19.
The workman melteth a graven image.
So we're going to continue to get on these idols because our family is a stumbling block to our families. We got to think about what they're doing to us. Even when we work 5 years, 10 years for a job, and they make sure they give us that idol, that wood plaque. You know, this is what we got to understand what they're doing to us. And we're going to take that plaque home or whatever they give us, and we're going to mount it up high. And we're going to look up to it and say, look what I did. Read this.
And the goldsmith spreadeth it over with gold, and casteth silver change. Verse 20. He that is so impoverished that he have no oblation.
Right, so he that is impoverished, like we are, we can't afford the silver and gold anymore. So we have to go cut down things in a field. We got to use whatever we can, which they have taught us on how to observe and idolize all these different gods.
He that is so impoverished that he have no oblation chooseth a tree that will not rot.
He chose a tree. So when we began to get in this state where we couldn't afford the gold or silver idols, it said he that is impoverished chooses a tree. He chooses a tree.
He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved.
You hear that? He seeketh the tree to prepare a graven image.
Yes.
The one that we sit in our living room every December. They give it to the impoverished. Who are the impoverished? This is what they give us, idols.
Verse 21, have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Have it not been told from you from the beginning?
What did he tell us in the beginning? Exodus 20, thou shalt have no other gods. No other gods. We're being disloyal. So that's why we're in this state. We know what this tree is. Read it. The book of Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the other nations. And see, the problem is, even though Martin Luther King had the great message of being non-violent, but when you tell the people that's at a low state to be like the other nations, to be equal to the other nations, what will you do? You're going to seek after those other nations and say, what are they doing? What are they doing to be in the state? Why are they so blessed? Why are they the standard? What are they doing? Well, their standard is worshiping different gods. Beelzebub, you name them. So they teach us to get that tree. They teach us to pick Big Mama in a nursing home. They teach us all this stuff that we knew not to do. When I was growing up, Big Mama was in a house with the parents. Her kids kept her in the house with them until she passed. There's certain things that we did as true kids of the Most High. And we cannot do what the other nations do. So when the Martin Luther King says that he wants us all to be equal, if you tell the people that don't know how, that don't have their identity, that don't know who they are, they're going to forget everything that they were brought up with to try to be like the other nations, to do things that will be acceptable to the world. But Deuteronomy 4 and 8 told us that the law, statutes, and commandments is our wisdom to the world.
Yes.
Not following the Gentiles and other nations. So we have to understand what we need to do. So we got to understand there's a pecking order that we need to get back to. That lion is crouching down, as it tells us in Genesis 49th chapter. That lion is crouching down, and we need to rise up. We need to rise up right now. Read that, bro. Isaiah, we're going to give Isaiah 5 and 20.
Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil.
Right, so we got to understand that this world has taught us that the evil things are good. So they perpetuate the evil things and make it seem like that's a good thing. But yet, when you look at the evil things that's going on in the world that they advertise on TV, they make sure a picture of us is heading. We are the one that's looking a certain type of way to the other nations. They got to make sure they put us down. They got to make sure we're at the beginning in the actual facial front. The actual head people that's showing the evil way of this world. Any kind of way they can get us to look bad, they'll do it. And we got to realize that. We cannot be like the other nations.
Verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes.
Right, so this world, they tell you that, what did Oprah Winfrey say? And she said, I don't want a God that is jealous of me. And it just shows how ignorant she is to make that statement. The Most High have to think of so many different things as far as being a God over this world. He has to make sure animals that we can't even think about eat. We have so many different areas in this world that has to be nourished by the Most High. And we got to understand that our thoughts, we cannot begin to think like the Most High would want us to think. Read that.
The book of Isaiah chapter 29 verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
Right, so unless you know that you're in a state to cry out, unless you know that you're in a drunken state, you won't cry out. You think it's okay. We have a great way of making poverty and being impoverished look good. And we call it ghetto fabulous. And we're not knowing that it's a certain level that we have to get back to. We can't consider, yeah, okay, we're in this state, we shouldn't let it bog us down, but we got to understand what the goal is. We got to understand why we're in this state. We have to understand that the law, statutes, and commandments are what's key. This is how you correct the world. When you're not purchasing in their stores, they can't help but stop and think about when you're not purchasing in their stores Friday night through Saturday night. As a matter of fact, we can make it through the whole weekend because we have to get ourselves prepared to not give the other nations any type of continuing of this wicked system. We have to make sure the kingdom is reversed. The kingdom is within us. We have to make sure that we get this back where it needs to be. Continue that.
Isaiah chapter 51 verse 1. Verse 20. Isaiah chapter 51 verse 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net.
Right, see, look around. This is the Bible. This that fake Bible that they say. King James Bible has no future prophecy. Nothing is correct, right? It's a lie by the white man, right? But yet it's saying this, read again.
Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
Right. Don't we look faint? Aren't we at the corners of the streets? This is what the Bible is saying. This fake book, remember? This book of a white man that didn't know nothing about blacks. It was all about white people. But when have you ever saw any other nations laying at the corner of the streets, trapped?
They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine.
Right, you drunk, but not with wine. We're going to continue with over here with Isaiah 29.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
So we're in this delusion that we think that we're actually progressing. But we're in a drunk state. Continue to read that.
Verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your readers, the seers have he covered.
So the Most High is saying he covered the true preachers of his work. He covered the true seers of the world. So these preachers that's here right now, that's in these $1 million churches and these high-rise churches, they don't know nothing. Trust me. Read this.
And the vision of all is become unto you as the word of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed.
Right, so if the preachers be honest and just say, I cannot, it is sealed, because they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue to what's going on in this book. It's our book. And until you humble yourself and start following these laws, statutes, commandments, and put away your sin, you will never get the understanding of this book. The Most High is brilliant. And when you start to fast and commend yourself to him, he unlocks understanding, he unlocks wisdom.
Verse 12. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. Verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as these people draw near me with their mouth.
Right, so yeah, it's real cool. We go to church on Sundays. We there a couple of hours, and we run right home to the football game, basketball game, or run right home to shop or whatever we do in our own world. We done gave the Most High 3 hours. Hey, it's all good. 3 hours of shucking and jiving and clapping and footworking in the church. What you got? You probably got 3 scriptures out of it. 3 total scriptures out of it. A lot of us don't know this book, and it's a reason why. Start over here.
Ezekiel chapter 5 verse 14. Moreover, I will make thee waste, and a reproach among the nations that are round about you.
So, yeah, we got some people that maybe they got a little what they call a nest egg. A little nest egg saved up so they get comfortable. But you don't get that nest egg saved up until you done worked in their system for 40 and 50 years. And then you may get your pension. You may get your 401k. Guess who in charge of that? The other nations. The other nations are in charge of us getting money that we work for 20 and 30 years. And we feel comfortable. We feel comfortable relying on him. How is that possible?
Moreover, I will make thee waste, and a reproach among the nations that are round about thee, in the sight of all that pass by. So it shall be a reproach and a taunt, an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round.
I'm sorry, Salaki, I had to get that. So it should be an instruction and a taunt. So we will be taunted by the other nations. It will be an instruction to them to treat us. read that again.
Verse 15. So it shall be a reproach in their tongue, an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations.
Right, so we're going to be a taunt and an astonishment to the nations. And just before that, it said it'll be a what?
A reproach among the nations that are round about thee, in the sight of all that pass by. Oh, my fault. Verse 15. So it shall be a reproach in a tongue, an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations.
Right, so it'll be an instruction for us to be in this state. So this is what happens. They free you a slave, they pay you $1 for 13, 14 hours, and then what do they say? Well, we're gonna, so they can be a little bit better human beings to society, we're gonna have them speak our language, because our Hebrew language was, our language was Hebrew, and we're gonna get that Paul, Yeshua, the Messiah, Christ, all of them spoke Hebrew. Abraham spoke Hebrew. We're going to get that. Keep going.
An instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in thee, in anger and in fury and in furious rebukes.
Right, so this is why we're in this state. The Most High was angry with us. And I say was. So it's time to get in this state where we're getting corrected. We have to get to the point where we're not drunk and staggering anymore. We have to get to this point. And the instruction from the Most High God is these laws. Read this.
The book of Romans chapter 13 verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe.
Right. So it's time to wake up. We got whooped. We've been spanked. We have a chance to wake up out of this situation. It's time to wake up. Come on now, they go to 10 for hours to look like us.
Say it.
Come on now. But yeah, we can't wait to blonde our hair. We can't wait to lighten our skin. It's time to wake up out of sleep. Read it again.
Verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believed.
Right, so they give you social media. That takes about 5 or 6 hours out your day. Even more. So how can you be reading a book? How can you be reading the Bible if you're on social media? You talk about a Bible, oh, it's just a white man's book, but who do you know got punished for following the law in the Bible? We followed the law and we were blessed. We didn't follow the law and here you go.
That's right.
We're in this state. This is why we're at this state right now. No law. No law. None at all.
Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
Listen up. Judah, the so-called Negroes in the world. Issachar, the so-called Spanish Mexicans. Listen up. Puerto Ricans, listen up.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known.
You only. So you can't look at the other nations and say, well, they're doing it.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
So that sounds familiar to me. Remember the time you go in the store with your mom and you see him and she tell you, when you go in this store, you better not look at nothing, you better not touch nothing, you ain't getting nothing. Sounds like what the father said. Because when we watch another little boy from another nation act out, in this store, and we looking around like, wow, man, he get to do whatever he want. Then we look at our parent, and she got that look on her face like, you can do it if you want. You are my child. You are my child. So whatever these little boys in the store do, they can do whatever they want. But you, my son, you, my daughter, you have to follow me. And that's what the Father said to us. Read that.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can two walk together except they be agreed?
Right, so there's no way possible for us to follow this world and please the Most High. It's impossible. And the whole point is to get us to understand the state we're in so we can get back to where we need to be. And that's the whole point. The whole point. We're going to go to the book of Hosea.
Hosea 4:1. Hear ye the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord had a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
Now listen, this is the Most High talking. Nothing else is important right now.
Because there is no truth, no mercy, no knowledge of God in the land, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing.
Right, so that's what this world, this is how you get ahead in this world. Lying, killing, stealing. So this is the state that we're in. Read.
And committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood.
So now we're in a state where we are blood touching blood against our own people. Go ahead.
Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish.
Right, so the land is mourning. There's no land that's probably giving us its proper fruitful fruits and vegetables that is given. So they have to make sure they make fake fruits and vegetables and food so they can come off like this world is still prospering. But this world is dying off because the true leaders aren't leading. This world is dying off. All right. Okay. All right. So this is the gathering of Christ Church.
Yeah.
And we speak everything the Most High wants to speak about in this Bible. We don't listen to nobody unless they're blessed and ordained by the Most High and talk to us through the Holy Spirit. We have nothing against no nations. All that want to come and follow the Most High can. All that want to follow the Most High can. And come to 8455 Cottage Grove and get that work so we can get back to the place where we need to be, on top.
Yes.
Shalom.
Really breaks my heart. Cause we've been lied to, misled for years, calling out to the Most High on this trail of tears.